Hi, I'm Terry O'Reilly, founder of OBP Australia, a service for overseas-born professionals looking to either get their first job in Australia or advance their career once they're established in their profession. Welcome to the podcast. Each episode, I'll be talking to an ex-OBP Australia client who's been successful in finding employment in Australia. We'll get to hear about their journey and what advice they have for job seekers. Faisal is a highly accomplished civil engineer with a successful career in structural engineering. Before moving to Australia, he had established and managed his own business in Bangladesh. With a wealth of experience in the construction industry, Faisal has honed this expertise in the design and analysis of structures, ensuring their stability and safety. In Australia, Faisal has transitioned into a new role as an estimating manager in a residential building company. In this position, he oversees several critical departments, including sales estimating, bill of quantities, procurement, and production estimating. We first met 8 years ago in 2015, when Faisal was looking for his first break in the building and construction industry. So Faisal, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks for your invitation.
No problem. Now, you're now well established in your industry, but take us back to when you first arrived. Can you remember how you felt in your first week in Australia? How would you describe your initial experience?
Yes, sure. When I first arrived in Australia, my emotions were a mix of excitement, anticipation, and a little bit of nervousness as well. Initial experience was both exciting and challenging. Because it's a different country. I left my country and, leaving your own people, a little bit emotional journey as well. However, everything seemed to be fresh and different. I got a few people here who's my friend. They welcomed me very in a nice way. So I got the support and advice from them. Looking back now, it was a roller coaster journey of emotions, growth and opportunities that followed made it worth it as well. It's a bit of now I can call Australia as my second home, and here I am.
Right. And how long did it take you to find work? Tell us about how you broke into the industry here.
I consider myself extremely lucky to get my first job within a month. Certainly, there was a strategic plan that helped me to get my first job very quickly. When I came to Australia, everyone told me that it takes 3 months to understand what kind of things you have to put in your CV. 6 to 12 months will take to get a first professional break. So I didn't want to wait that long. So I started looking for professional service that could guide me a job quickly. So I visited several consultants, so many institutions and even universities that offer mini courses of service for migrants. So one of them was OBP Australia. So the time we first met, I actually asked pretty much every where I go, I ask the same questions to everyone, like, what you could offer me better than others. So that was a simple question I was asking pretty much everywhere I go. So the answer from OBP Australia I got, I will save your time. That was the trigger point, and that convinced me to go with OBP Australia. It took, so then we started working together to prepare my CV as per Australian standard, a LinkedIn profile, and receive some training on tailoring my CV based on job requirements, which is so much important. And within a week and a half, I got my first interview call and got my first job. So my interview preparation was straightforward. I watched a lot of YouTube videos to learn the basic interview questions, gather some knowledge of the Australian standard software, and spoke with some industry experts I knew. And of course, huge guidance from OVP on behavioral questions, little bit grooming session, how to face interview as well.
That's great. Now, from memory, I think I introduce you to somebody from your profession that helped you get your kickstart?
Yeah, that's right. So that was good industry. I mean, you actually introduced me someone who helped me to get my first interview, and then interview went really well, and then they hired me.
Right. I thought my memory was correct there. So that's good. So less than a month or a month, that's pretty good going. And as you said before, it can be quite stressful finding that first job when you first arrive. Now, you're a professional engineer, but you're working as an estimating manager. What was your reason for pursuing this role instead of, let's say, a project engineer or site engineer?
I started my career as a structural engineer, and I have had the privilege of designing several iconic high-rise and commercial and residential projects in Bangladesh. Probably the memories that will be cherished for a lifetime. Now, coming to Australia, I did a little bit of research, and probably the toughest decision I have made that is changing the track in Australia. Um, so when I arrived here, I actually did some research and realized that securing a structural engineering job is one will be the very tough to get into the market because they got several requirements like understanding the codes, maybe a master's degree, and most importantly, there is a very, less opportunity in structural engineering. When I look at the estimating roles, there are more opportunity. So with these considerations, I decided to apply for estimating role, and fortunately, I secured one. However, when I started working in estimating, I was always in my mind that it will be my short-term goal. Then I started working for a company called HB Australia, and then over there, what I found is that I have to learn a lot of things like building codes, design principles, construction process, budgeting and negotiating with suppliers and trades. So these are the challenging things. So my understanding of estimating is completely different when I was in Bangladesh, and here is completely different. This role is more challenging, and you need to learn a lot of new stuff as well. So that motivated me tremendously and led me to focus solely on excelling this field. So now it aligns with my career goals, personal interest, and offers promising growth opportunities for my future.
Now, I have a lot of estimating clients, people who are looking for work as an estimator or in building construction. Can you tell me what an estimator does on a daily basis? Let's say, just give me an example, what a typical day looks like for an estimator working in a company that does residential building.
Yes, so basically, it depends on which role they're doing it. So if I say production estimating role, so you got a job, then you have to assess it. You have to understand the detail of the plan, what is the required for that plan, and what you need to order it. So you will create the whole bill of quantity. So using the new software, new technology, whatever the company is using. So you create the whole bill, and after the bill, you have to check with the contracts, all the items included, what the color documents what are the upgrades in the color documents. You have to add all these things as well, and then you give the margin report. So this is the basic, probably daily work they have to do. On the top of that, any construction queries, on-site issues they have to face. They have to, reply back the emails. They have to do some investigations, and these are the basic role any estimator does.
Now, you mentioned software there. How important is it to have had experience with the specific software that that company uses, or is it enough to be competent with Excel and maybe one estimating software? What was your experience moving into that area?
So basically, I came from, I'm a migrant, so I don't have any knowledge when I started working in this in Australia. So the most important thing, you have the basic understanding of estimating. You can learn software. So that is probably the good thing for any migrant, that if you got a good attitude and you're open to learn, company will give you an opportunity to pursue your goal. So my experience was great in my interview. Actually, they did ask me that you're not familiar with the software, what are you going to do? So my answer was very simple. If you train me, I can learn within a month or two about the new software. But for estimating role, I mean, when you are in the estimating role, you have to learn new software based on the company requirements. You have to be up to date with the new codes, new change in the industry. So yeah, it is very important. And any software upgradation of any software, you have to learn that part too.
And there are quite a few different software applications, aren't there? I've come across three or four that companies use. It's not all the same one industry wide. Is that correct?
That's correct. So you got one is for bill of quantity software, then you got quantity takeoff software, and again, every department got so many different software as well. So it's it's actually job specific what is required. So you can call any software, say for example, if any migrant is interviewing to anywhere, so they can call the software company to. There are a lot of demo version or free version available in their website. You can download, you can learn from there too.
And what advice would you give to someone trying to break into estimating in Australia? Let's say, they might be an engineer like you, or they may have had some building construction experience overseas, but haven't actually done the role here. What's a good angle to approach getting a job as an estimator?
Yeah. To get a job as an estimator, if you're an engineer, then of course you don't have to really worry about your education part. If you're not an estimator, I would suggest you go certificate for diploma to have a little bit basic understanding of construction process. Um, then you need to understand as a migrant, probably the best way to do gain practical experience. Start from the beginning, like an entry level position job, seek internship or volunteer opportunities, develop strong analytical skills, um, gather some knowledge on estimating software, build up the network, seek mentors. Like I will give example again, OBP Australia, to seek mentor from professional overseas, who guide you well. Then communication skill, I will say that is probably one of the very important thing, yeah, they need to develop. Uh, at the end of the day, you need to communicate with the suppliers, trade, negotiate, and of course, internal team as well. So, and last one is open to learning attitude.
Yeah, that's really good advice there. So just on back to who's doing the work as an estimator. Most of the people that you've come across in this role, they're not engineers. They come from a different origin of building construction. They've done a Cert 4 perhaps in building construction. Is that correct? How many engineers would you see actually working as estimators in Australia?
I actually have seen both. I would say people probably started working from 80s and 90s. They don't have any engineering degree. They probably some of them probably did some cert for diploma. But nowadays, because a lot of migrants are coming and they're interested in, they can see the growth in estimating department. I can see a lot of engineers are working. In my last company, all the estimators were engineers. So in this company, I actually joined a new company where one of them engineers, another one is probably did some cert for diploma. So things are changing because engineers are now challenging they're demanding the role of estimating. So it's not mandatory, I would say, but having cert for or diploma, I think will be helpful for them.
Yeah, somebody once told me who works in the industry, he said he's an employer and he said the best estimators are engineers. So maybe that's because of their, academic background as well and their thoroughness. Perhaps, that could be a reason why you're so highly valued. Now, it's a good industry to be in. I understand building construction is booming. Is that right?
Um, I would say it's the best industry. If I'm not wrong, it's 45% revenue earns from construction industry. So that is probably the best industry to work with. Um, now, due to the market conditions, probably it's less opportunity in the job, but still, if I compare with other industry, I would say construction industry is the best industry to work with.
Right. So we've talked a bit about the industry. Let's just finish up by having a look at the difference between the Australian workplace culture and what you had experienced in Bangladesh. So we're talking about things like management style, how formal people are here, etc. What would you say was the some of the differences that you noticed when you started working in Australia from what you were used to in Bangladesh?
Um, Here, fair bit of things definitely was challenging, and as well as I've noticed in the management style. So, is management very friendly here? I must say, great sense of humor. We actually talk a lot about not only the work, so many other things. Not very strict. However, they're very strict in their deadlines. You have to focus on their goals. A daily target or monthly target. It's a balanced work life. No one expects you to work after 5 o'clock, so which is great. Time management skills is spot on, and if you need training, there will be someone who will help you to train. Whereas Bangladesh is a bit flexible management. Um, Working is 6 days in a week, so less family time.
Sure. And you mentioned there that when you're at work, it's focused, but it's not always conversations about work. So what do people talk about in the Australian workplace from your experience?
Oh, well, is a casual talk. What is it? Casual talk.
Yeah.
That's if I say footy, probably one of the popular things that we discuss every day. And cricket a little bit because a lot going on in England and Australia at the moment. Weekend party, long holidays, movies, food. Yeah, these are the common discussion that we have. In the office place.
Do you follow the footy or just not really, just as conversation at work?
I do. I want to be a part of the culture, so I do follow. Not watch every game. I'm not probably one day, but I follow the footy. I'm a part of footy tipping as well, so I want to be on the top of the ladder too. It's a good conversation, and yeah,
So
I follow
just explain that for the listeners. What's footy tipping?
So footy tipping is basically you got a footy is one of the popular Australian football, so they call it. It got a tipping means so in office, so everyone tips. Say for example, our office tips $50 everyone. So it's pretty much whole season. You're gonna tip every week. You have to select who will win the game, and if you, if your assumption is right, you'll be top of the ladder. So first three will get what of the amount will be decided by the company.
How are
So
you
that is a
going? How are you
tipping.
going this year? Are you doing okay in the tipping?
Well, I'm a number three in the ladder, so not bad.
Good.
Yeah, uh, maybe I'll end up second or third. That's it.
Do you have a team that you follow?
Richmond.
You've had some good years then. Three premierships recently. That's good.
That's right.
All right. So thank you for all of that. Now, just to finish up, the last question. If people are still overseas about to embark on the immigration journey, what would you say they should be doing to prepare for life in Australia?
The first thing I reckon is a mindset. Um, they have to remember this. It's a tough journey to settle down in a foreign land. It's not going to be easy. So they have to keep in mind that they have to adapt anything, whatever the situation is. They have to adapt. That is the first thing. And then I will say do some research to learn about the culture, lifestyle, local customs. Financial planning will be great as well. If you bring some financial safety net for the first few months at least, that will good help. Understand a little bit more about healthcare insurance system. Um, do some research about accommodation, where you want to live, what will be the cost-effective option for you. Uh, Start building up network when you're overseas. Nowadays, there are a lot of social platforms you can use. Reach out to those people who you know. It can be from your industry, it can be your friends. to make sure that you know before you come here. Communication is still one of the strong thing you have to learn, and that will actually give you more opportunities for job or any daily interactions. Job market research is very important too. You need to know where you want to work and what kind of opportunities there in Australia. A little bit emotional preparation as well, because you're gonna leave your country. You can't hold everything there. So and lastly, but very important, get professional service. Every day counts when you are here, because you're paying and you don't have a job. And if you bring your family, um, then you're spending more. So get professional service. I will definitely suggest OBP Australia, because I got my job very quickly. I recommend a few people to OBP. They got that job quickly as well. So get professional service. Don't waste your time, and be patient. Be patient, because your time will come.
Good advice there, Faisal. And thank you very much for sharing your journey and giving up your time. And good luck for the future.
Thanks, Jerry, and good luck to you. And thanks for inviting me.
OBP Australia provides guidance and support with job applications and approaching employers, industry awareness, interview coaching, and language and communication. You'll also be introduced to your professional peers already working in Australia, so you can get the lowdown on what's happening in your industry or profession. If you're looking for guidance and support to find your next job, email me at terry@obpaustralia.com.au. Let's talk.